Have you ever faced a problem so big, you thought you couldn't overcome it? Imagine for a moment standing before a towering giant, armed with nothing more than a humble sling and a handful of stones. That's the situation a young shepherd named David found himself in, according to the biblical tale of David and Goliath. But the story isn't just about a physical battle, it's a testament to the power of faith. Faith, in its essence, is a belief that goes beyond the physical, beyond what we can touch, see, or hear. It's a deep-seated confidence that even when things don't seem to make sense, there is a higher purpose, a greater plan at work. And this faith, this unwavering belief, can empower us in ways we might never have imagined possible. Consider David. He was not a warrior, he was not a soldier. He was a shepherd, a boy who tended to sheep. Yet, he stepped onto a battlefield, stood before a giant, and won. How? It wasn't his physical prowess that brought him victory, it was his faith in a power greater than himself, his faith in the divine. David's faith wasn't passive, it was active, bold, and daring. He didn't sit back and wait for the giant to come to him, he stepped forward, he took action. And in doing so, he demonstrated that faith isn't about sitting idly by, waiting for things to happen. It's about stepping forward, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. The story of David and Goliath is a powerful reminder that faith can conquer the insurmountable. It can help us face our own giants, whatever they may be. It can guide us through our darkest times, providing a light that illuminates our path and gives us the strength to keep moving forward. So when you find yourself facing a challenge that seems too big, too overwhelming, remember the shepherd boy who defeated a giant. Remember David. Remember the power of faith. Faith, as David showed us, can guide us through our darkest times. Ever felt like your patience is being tested beyond its limits? It's a question we all grapple with from time to time. The world we live in can feel chaotic, full of challenges that test our patience and our faith. In these moments, it can be helpful to look to the ancient stories for guidance. One of the most powerful tales of patience comes from the book of Job. Now Job was a man who had it all: wealth, a loving family, respect within his community. But in a swift turn of events, he lost everything. His wealth was taken away, his children perished, and he was afflicted with painful sores. Imagine, if you will, being in his shoes, having your world turned upside down in a blink of an eye. But what's remarkable about Job's story isn't just the calamities that befell him, it's his response to these trials. Despite his immense suffering, Job never turned his back on his faith. He never cursed the day he was born or blamed his misfortunes on anyone else. Instead, he stood firm, displaying an extraordinary level of patience and unwavering faith. And this, my friends, is where the true strength in patience lies. It's not about quietly enduring hardships or waiting for better days to come. It's about holding on to your faith even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. It's about believing that there's a higher purpose to your suffering even when you can't see it. This doesn't mean that Job didn't question or lament his condition, he did. But through it all, he held on to his faith, never losing sight of his trust in the divine plan. So what happened to Job in the end? Well, his patience and faith were rewarded in ways he could never have imagined. He was blessed with twice as much as he had before his trials, and he lived a long, fulfilling life. Patience, as Job demonstrated, can lead us to blessings we never imagined. Remember, patience is not merely about waiting, it's about enduring with hope and faith. And that, my friends, is a strength that can move mountains. Can obedience really lead us to better outcomes? Let's delve into the story that answers this question in a profound way. The tale of Noah and the Ark. It's a story that echoes through the ages, a testament to the extraordinary power of obedience. Noah, a man in a world consumed by wickedness, heard the voice of God. He was asked to do something that seemed absurd to the rest of the world, to build an enormous ship, an ark, in preparation for a great flood that would cleanse the earth. Noah was not a shipbuilder, nor was he a prophet, yet he was chosen for his righteousness, for his unwavering faith. He could have dismissed the divine instructions as mere imagination, or succumbed to the ridicule of his peers. Instead, Noah chose obedience. He spent decades building the ark, enduring the laughter and scorn of his community. He persevered, driven by his faith and his obedience to God's command. When the rain started to fall and the floodwaters began to rise, the ark that was once a symbol of ridicule became a beacon of hope. Noah, his family, and a pair of every living creature were saved. Because of Noah's obedience, life on earth was preserved. This story is not just about a flood or a ship, it's about the value of obedience, about the courage to follow a path that others may not understand. Noah's obedience led to the preservation of life on earth, a feat that would have been impossible if he had chosen to ignore God's command. In our lives we may not be asked to build an ark, but we are often faced with choices that require obedience. Whether it's adhering to principles, following a moral compass, or listening to that quiet voice within us, obedience plays a crucial role. Noah's story reminds us that obedience, even when it's difficult or misunderstood, can lead to extraordinary results. It's a powerful lesson that carries a timeless truth. Sometimes the path of obedience may be the road less traveled, but it can also be the road that leads to salvation. Obedience, as Noah illustrated, can lead to extraordinary results. Does forgiveness truly have the power to heal? This question brings us to the heart of our fourth powerful lesson: the importance of forgiveness. Let's journey back to an ancient time, to the story of Joseph and his brothers. Joseph, the favored son, was sold into slavery by his own brothers, who were envious of his special coat of many colors and his father's preference. A bitter betrayal that could have bred a lifetime of resentment and anger. However, the story didn't end there. Joseph, through his faith and resilience, rose to prominence in Egypt. And as fate would have it, a severe famine struck, forcing his brothers to seek help from Egypt, unknowingly from the brother they had betrayed. Now imagine yourself in Joseph's shoes. You have the power to punish those who wronged you, to make them feel the same despair and pain they once inflicted on you. But Joseph chose a different path. He chose forgiveness. Joseph's decision to forgive his brothers was not a sign of weakness, but a profound strength. It was a choice to let go of the past, to break the cycle of revenge, and to open the door for a new beginning. By choosing to forgive, Joseph not only reconciled with his brothers but also ensured their survival during the famine. Forgiveness, as we see in Joseph's story, is not just about letting go of the past. It's also about healing, not just for the one who was wronged, but for everyone involved. It's about breaking down the walls of resentment and anger and building bridges of understanding and love. Forgiveness is a powerful tool we all possess. It's a choice that can change the course of our lives, that can transform bitterness into love and hatred into understanding. It's a choice that can mend what was once broken and bring peace to our hearts. Forgiveness, as Joseph showed us, has the power to mend what was once broken. So, I invite you to reflect. Where in your life could the power of forgiveness bring healing? Where could you mend what was once broken? What can we learn from these biblical figures and their stories of faith and overcoming challenges? The narratives we've traversed today are not just ancient stories, but profound lessons woven into the fabric of time. They echo through the ages, whispering wisdom into our hearts and minds, reminding us of the power of faith, the strength and patience, the value of obedience, and the importance of forgiveness. Firstly, we've seen the power of faith. Like a beacon in the night, faith guides us through the stormy seas of life. It was faith that empowered David to face the towering Goliath. It's faith that allows us to confront our own giants, those insurmountable challenges that loom large in our lives. So let's remember to hold steadfast to our faith, for it is the light that shines even in the darkest corners of our existence. Secondly, we've learned about the strength and patience. Job's story is a testament to the resilience that patience can bring. In our fast-paced world, patience is often overlooked, but it is the quiet force that helps us endure through the toughest trials. It's patience that allows us to wait for the dawn after the longest night. Thirdly, we've explored the value of obedience. Noah's obedience to divine instruction, despite the ridicule he faced, led to his and his family's salvation. Obedience is not about blind submission, but about trust and understanding. It's about following a path, even when it's difficult, because we trust in the journey and its destination. Lastly, we've delved into the importance of forgiveness. Joseph's story reminds us that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful act of love and liberation. It's forgiveness that frees us from the chains of resentment and allows us to move forward with grace and compassion. Remember, just like David, Job, Noah, and Joseph, we too have the capacity to overcome our own Goliaths, endure our trials, obey even when it's difficult, and forgive those who have wronged us.